I didn't realize how like much respect I was gaining from some of the clients. I thought it was just I'm just painting a house. Like I didn't think it was really that big of a deal or staining a fence, whatever it may be. But I think that's when I started to kind of realize like, oh, maybe what I'm doing is actually kind of like pretty cool. Like I thought it was just kind of like, oh, this might just be like a normal internship because I didn't really look at a lot of internships.
Yeah.
I looked at this one, and was like, nope, yep, I'll do this. So I thought it was kind of just normal what I was doing. Come to find out, it's not very normal for somebody to do what I was doing that year. But
Welcome to the show. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing. And this is a good one. We got Henry Goodnow, only 22 years old, managing 100 people and 2.5 million in revenue. And he's one of 12 kids. You think about how great his parents must have been, practicing 12 different times. He's going to talk about pursuing better even when good is enough. Think about that. Pursuing better even when good is enough. The hard way is the best way, with advances if you take it. And we're going to talk about the value of commitment. There's no wrong way. Just commit. Let's get it done. Welcome to the show and welcome to the Edge of Excellence. Well, Henry, thank you so much for making time to come away from the World Cup being played right in your backyard and record an episode of the Edge of Excellence with us. Welcome to the show.
thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You know, by this time that this airs, the World Cup will be over. Do you have a favorite team?
I do not
Yeah,
actually
you
follow
do. The
soccer
USA.
at
Come
all.
on, dude. You get a red card. No, we'll only give you a yellow card because we can't evict you from the show. Yellow card. Of course, it's the USA, dude. It's the World Cup, but you're from Kansas. What do they know about soccer in Kansas? Well, we're going to dive into your life and go way back and talk about having 12 siblings, 7 sisters, and 4 brothers. Where were you in that, by the way?
Right in the middle, number 5.
Oh my gosh, the middle child, Henry in the middle, 12 people. And we're going to talk about the sports and working while you're in sports. We're going to talk about working for your dad, which must have been cool. Shout out to your parents. But before we do, we got to know, Henry, what is your definition of excellence?
Yeah, no, I thought a lot about this since you asked me to be on here. There's kind of 2 different routes I wanted to go, but I'd say my definition of excellence would be the pursuit of better, even when good is enough.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Pursuit of better, even when good is enough. The pursuit of better, even when good's enough. I absolutely love that, actually. I don't know if that's my favorite definition of excellence, but that's different. And there's probably like 5 different definitions, and 90 of them are the same one said differently. And then there's a few of the other. That might be the only one I've heard. Pursuit of better, even when good's enough. I love it. Well, let's go back. You played baseball in college. You did college works your freshman year, which is pretty hard. I don't know how anybody could do it, but it seems like many people can because they do. And then you were a district manager and a general manager and, paid your way through college. And now you're off and running and might be starting a division with us where it talks about that. Crazy few years you've had. I don't know if that's what you expected. What was life like in high school? What were you doing? I forget where you were, somewhere in Colorado, right?
Yep. I grew up in a small town, like right on the border of Kansas and Colorado called Burlington. But yeah, no, high school, I mean, played a lot of sports. I was a 3-sport athlete, so played baseball, basketball, and football. My like sophomore year during COVID was kind of weird. We had a chance to play like every sport, so I played golf one year. But yeah, no, it was mostly focused like on sports when I was in high school. I knew I really wanted to play some sport in college. It was probably like my sophomore year that I decided it was probably going to be baseball that I wanted to pursue the most. And then, yeah, also worked a lot. So
How
worked for
about
my
those
dad.
Rockies, by the way? 4th worst in the nation. Go Rockies, go Angels. I went to the game. Rockies versus Angels. 4th worst versus worst. Somebody got bonked on the head by the ball trying to catch it. It was awful.
I
Go
actually did see that the other day, though.
go
I don't
Rockies.
remember what they ended up calling it, but it's better than
We
last year.
left.
I think last year they were the worst, I believe. So,
Yeah. So you decided to focus on baseball because you wanted to be
yep.
on the Rockies?
Yeah. I mean, that was obviously always the dream when I was little was to play in the pros. But I think if you're a little kid, that's everyone's dream. But
Mm.
yeah, no, and then I worked for my dad in the summers. He has his own construction business. So did that most time in the summers. I'd work kind of part time here and there when I could during the school year.
What sort of
Um,
stuff was he building?
I was mostly like remodeling and stuff. We didn't really, I guess we did build like a few like shops,
But
but
mostly interior remodels?
interior remodels,
Okay, so wait,
add-ons.
I gotta throw a flag. I'm not gonna give you a yellow card. But most dads and moms think that you can't be a three-sport athlete and work. So why were you able to do that? And I think it's important that people understand that you can do that. And that sometimes the parents are the handcuffs, right? Your parents are like, I don't know, the wings. Your parents are like the wings. They're like, no, no, no. Let's steer you in the right direction. So how were you able to do all that?
I mean, honestly, it was pretty normal. Like, I think it would have been more unusual for me not to do that. Like all my siblings, my older siblings, they all played
Oh, that's
sports, they
right.
all worked.
That's
So I would have
why
been like
your
weird
parents
child.
that
I wasn't
your
doing that.
your parents had a trial run for 5 kids before you showed up. Okay, now I get it. Was the first one have a little bit of a rougher time than you did?
No, my oldest two sisters are actually twins. They weren't
Yeah.
as much of athletes, but they
Your
did do 4-H.
parents had it hard. Right out of the bat, they had twins. Okay. How soon later did they have the third child?
I think there was like a 2-year difference.
Oh, so they had
Yeah,
3 kids in diapers, possibly. All right.
pretty close to it. Yeah. So
Wow. And so they had all this practice. You came around and they're like, no, 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 you can do sports and work because they already did. It's the first child, maybe the second child that gets away with not in my family. In my family, you had to do varsity sports and you had to work because I know varsity sports work above a 3.0. What are the 5 things? Above a 3.0, picking a tough major,
over 40 hours work a
over
week
40 hours of work.
to
If
do
you've
work
done all those and
experience.
you're in high school, you're destined for greatness. If you haven't and you're in college, you need to get to the 40 hours. You need to get as many of those 5 things under your belt. So your parents were wise beyond their years and knew that. So you're working, doing construction, heavy, hard work, heavy, hard work. And were you focused on one day being an entrepreneur? What were you thinking?
Not really, to be totally honest with you. I mean, construction when I first started working for my dad, like, wasn't the biggest fan of it. As I started to actually get more experience and get to, like, learn more of, like, the actual trade, I started to really like it. Engineering always interested me because I liked science and math, but then my, like, sophomore year of high school is when I actually finished all my high school classes.
Oh,
So, like, my sophomore, junior, senior year was just taking college credits,
oh.
and I started to take a little bit more advanced, like, math and science classes. That's when I
Is that
realized I
normal in your
did not
family
wanna
too?
be
Is that normal in your family
um,
too?
that was probably not totally normal. My siblings all took college credits, but
Wow.
not quite as many as
So I
I
don't know if
did,
you know
so
this. This is a good time for a pause. I want to recognize that Henry can be found on LinkedIn. Henry Goodnow, Goodnow. I want to recognize our not sponsor, Buelos and Fortaleza Tequila. They don't know it, but I think they sponsor me. And I think we should probably mention that Sean Phelps and Tiffany Phelps. Sean Phelps, who hosts many of these shows and is on some of the shows with me, he is actually what I thought was the best father, and his wife is the best mother in the history of parents. And I was actually notifying the Guinness Book of World Records. But it could be that your parents are in contention because they're checking all the boxes that I like. Work them real hard, make them do sports, and now they're taking college classes. This is all the impossible stuff you did. So were you didn't know if you were just kind of this person that didn't know what you wanted to do, so you started taking all these college classes and trying out engineering and trying out all this stuff. So when you went to college, did you have a direction?
no, not really. I honestly didn't have any plans. I didn't really wanna go to college too much, but I knew my mom told me, like, "You gotta at least go and try," because I had opportunity to play baseball.
Oh.
Because she knew, like, "You can try it, and if you don't like it, like, it's not a big
So your
deal,"
mom's
but
now also a Jedi master, so she
yeah.
manipulated you. I've been in there before. I've been there like, oh no, what do I say now? How about we just go with let's try. So that she's a Jedi master. She knew it would work, and you went and tried it.
Yeah, so I went to college, for a year. I just chose business management. To be totally honest, it was just the easiest major that I was the closest to getting, and just so I could try out playing baseball. Yeah, it didn't end up really college baseball is definitely a lot different than, like, high school. I'm really glad that I tried it out, but played for a year my freshman year, decided, like, yeah, this probably isn't really like, I'm not gonna take this really anywhere, so I was also pretty bored going into college because my first semester, I was like, "I'm just gonna focus on baseball and school." School ended up being, like, very, very easy, luckily for me, and then baseball wasn't as, like, time consuming as I thought it was gonna be, so I had a lot of free time, so I started looking for something else to do, and then it's kinda where I ended up hearing about College Works through Handshake, and then from there, I started doing this and was like, "Oh, man, I might actually really like running a business and doing something like this."
Okay, so what do you like about it? What's the dream? So if you think about starting a business or running a business, and You've been running businesses and helping other people run businesses. Now you're stepping out and maybe taking the financial risk too. What's the difference between what you thought it was and what it is? What's the good surprise and what's the negative surprise?
I mean, I never really had, like, I guess, a whole lot of a clue, like, I always just thought, like, "Oh, yeah, they're, like, a business owner." I never really looked too much into it, but it definitely is very hard and very challenging, which I think is why I like it so much is because it's kinda something that doesn't just come, like, I feel like school always kinda came naturally to me. So it's one thing that I feel like I honestly was really bad at, which is I think what made me fall in love with it the most. It kinda reminded me a lot of, like, sports, 'cause it's never, like,
Oh,
naturally, like, super great at sports, but I kinda like the challenge of, like, if you put in the work, you get a lot better,
oh,
and you get to see the results, so I think that was the first thing that really, like, got me interested was seeing how, like, if I put in the work, I was gonna see the results, and fast forward to being a DM, like, getting to see that translate into other people is, like,
mhm,
way more rewarding than even seeing it yourself.
yeah,
It's pretty cool when you see, like, other people get to, like, experience that same thing, so, honestly, one thing I did know I always wanted to do was get into some sort of coaching. I thought it'd be sports. I always thought being, like, a high school coach would be pretty cool. Had some pretty cool high school coaches that made, like, a pretty positive impact on, I feel like, kinda who I was, so I thought it'd be pretty cool to be able to kinda hand that down to high school students at some point in my lifetime, and then, yeah, I got to start when I became a DM, it was like, "Oh, wow, this is like it's like life coaching almost, where
yeah, yeah.
probably makes more of an impact than just teaching somebody, how to dribble a basketball." So
Yeah. So it is interesting because it's very hard. There's a lot like baseball, right? You can't really master it. You can get really good. You could be Bill Gates, you can be Steve Jobs, you can be whoever, Elon Musk. You can get really good, have great ideas, great execution, build great teams and become a goat, let's say, but mastery can't ever master all of it. Steve Jobs was bad with his people skills. And so there's always that challenge, always something to work on, which is kind of cool. That I love about that too. And I wanted to be a teacher. So a lot of businesses coaching. So you say like an executive coach, well, that's what you do. If you're a sales manager, you're a sales coach. If you're a production manager, you're a production coach. If you're a project manager, you're a efficiency coach. If you're an accounting manager, you're probably a lot of people coaching and accounting. I mean, that's what you are as you move up. So you get to be a coach. I get to be a teacher. You can inspire people. You can drive them. You can whip them. That works for a little bit, but not very long. So they have to be inspired. That you have to tap into that inner vein. So it's like, I want to teach. I can inspire through my teaching. You can inspire through your coaching, but there's a lot of parallels. So you didn't really know what you wanted to do. You had some experiences. You just kept your mind open. And then going into kind of entrepreneurship and running businesses, what boxes was that checking for you when you're sitting in college thinking, maybe this is right for me?
yeah, I mean, originally, like, I just got into it because it was kinda something to keep me busy, so I really liked that. It
Mhm.
honestly probably wasn't till, like, towards the end of, like, the summer of my intern year that I started to think, like,
What'd you do?
I
Wait,
mean,
let's
this
just pause. Let's just pause. And be honest here. I mean, your parents probably aren't going to listen to this. So, don't worry about saying anything that you don't want them to hear. What did you do? Because I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So I wasn't too far from where you are. I got a little bored. And you keep talking about bored. Yeah, school was easy for me too. I got a little bored. What did you do to solve your boredom?
when I was in high school, I think honestly that's my parents kinda grew up in a similar, like, environment. I think that's why they tried to keep us as busy as possible. Like, my mom always
Oh
said,
my
like,
God. You better
"I don't
call
care
the
what you do,
Phelps.
but you have to do something because
Yeah,
if you don't, like, that's where you get into trouble."
so
Now, I
that
definitely
that
got in plenty
helped,
of
that
trouble
helped, that
still.
helped, that helped,
Yeah.
and that's good. I'm see what so your mom needs to go become a parenting coach and tell all the other parents this because oh, you can't do work and sports. Oh, my son's in football, so he can't do any other sports or work or go to school or get good grades or anything. So they tried to keep you busy. What'd you do? What'd you do?
I mean, really, there's a lot of, like, dirt roads, like, driving around on dirt roads. We liked to use fireworks and just blow up random stuff. Traffic
Yeah,
cones are pretty
that's
fun.
what I'm talking. Any dynamite?
Um,
Any dynamite?
Now we weren't able to get our hands on dynamite, which is probably
Guns?
pretty good, but we did yeah, oh, yeah, plenty of guns.
Lots of
Tannerite. Tannerite
mhm,
was, I guess, the closest we could get to
mhm. Other
dynamite,
other
just
people's
blow up
property
stuff.
that you didn't know, right? Yeah, full
Oh, yeah. Oh, my
vandal.
my my senior year, we got really into, like we wanna, like, damage things, but we loved egging people. and we decided it'd be pretty fun to egg our basketball coach.
And those hurt,
Yeah.
by the way.
Oh yeah, man, dude. I think it hurt more when he made us run around our parking lot for like a whole practice with eggs on a plastic spoon. And if you dropped the egg,
This
that
town,
was like
you know what?
another
We're
like
gonna.
another
We need.
lap. And
We need people to move to this town. This sounds like a good example town. So my parents are good parents. I got like most people have baggage, and I've been through a bunch of tests, and there's weird tests you can do. I got no baggage. Everything I have inside me that's quirky or weird or dragging me down or all my past is on me. Not my wife doesn't have that. It's I think it's 1 in 100,000 people have the setup I have. So my parents are world class parents. Sean is just so consistent. Like my parents missed a few boxes here and there. They weren't perfect. Sean and Tiff are perfect, but it sounds like this town you live in might be perfect parenting town. I mean, what an awesome idea. You have to run. You want to egg me? Let me show you. Running with an egg on a spoon. And I'm sure a lot of people got those eggs on their legs. So that's he couldn't egg you
oh,
back.
there was a lot of eggs that fell. And we tried
Yeah.
to like sneak our thumb on to hold it on, and then they would be like, "Nope, that's another one."
So
There's one point where we thought about just throwing the eggs back at his car as he was standing in front of us when he was handing them to us, which we probably would have got the whole basketball program shut down if we did that.
so it is funny if you're a parent, and I see this, like I said this to my friend Mike, because this kid was a maniac. I said, dude, kid's bored. I mean, I was breaking into cars, stealing car stereos, stole a couple cars. We did have a box of dynamite, which ended up being a bad idea. Picking fights, riding in hot air balloons because we're from Albuquerque. But yeah, it's like I was just bored. I need to get out there and do something. So if your kid seems crazy, like I was, and maybe Henry secretly was, but his mom didn't know, she'll never.
I would have been really I could not imagine
You
how
can't
bad
let
I
your
would have
parents
been
find
if
out
I
these
wasn't
things.
like as busy as I was.
Yeah.
I mean, they know most of the stuff that I did because we never did anything too harmful. But there's definitely some I could see it getting pretty bad if
What's your
I
mom's
wasn't
name?
so busy. And Annie.
Good job, Ann. I know she's going to listen to this. Good job parenting, Ann. But he did have one flaw. He was blowing stuff up with Tannerite, whatever that is. So then you came to college. You found this thing early on as a freshman. You did the internship. You learned all about business. You wanted to do more, so you became a mentor to others. And now you're moving into the full-time world. What was your kind of biggest obstacle when you were just starting out? And don't think about college works because there's a lot of people, especially in Australia. Shout out to Melbourne, Australia. There's a lot of people that listen to this there, starting any business. What was the kind of the biggest obstacle related to any company, not just our company, and how'd you overcome it when you were just starting off your first branch of College Works?
I mean, honestly, I think the hardest thing was just like building any sort of trust with anybody. Like I was I was in Lindsberg, where this college I went to is a town of like 3,000 people. So it's a very small, very tight knit community. Nobody knows, like, no one knew who I was. It wasn't like I was doing it in a small town where everybody knew my name. So it took a whole lot of like building a lot of trust with people and like getting my name out there to really, I guess, get any sort of like traction with my like starting my business there. Now I think that the pro to that is once you kind of get the ball rolling, it helped a lot. But at the beginning,
It's
I mean,
always, if you
everyone was
start
like,
off like you start a business in a recession, you know you're set, right? We started in a recession. We actually do really well in a recession because people need to go prove themselves, so they come here and prove themselves. If you start a business in a recession, if you go to the worst market and make it work, if you're the not in the inner circle person in the small town, and you can make it there, you can make it anywhere, right? As the song
yeah.
goes.
I remember always thinking like, man, if I could do this back in Burlington, like I would be so much better. But then I also think I honestly learned a lot more from
Yeah.
doing it in like a harder environment. Like, yeah, I maybe didn't do as much revenue or make as much money or, you know, but I think honestly the skills that I learned and like the experience I had is probably better because I had more challenges from
Did
being
your
in
mom
like a
did Ann
small
mention
town.
did Ann mention
What was
that
that?
to you? Did Ann mention that to you?
I mean, not really a whole lot. My parents honestly weren't really like I just kind of called them when things were going well, just telling them like, oh yeah, like I booked a job here, booked a job there. But no, I think I realized it, especially when I became a DM, like, it's like, man, it's a good thing that I had it a little bit harder when I was an intern. I had to,
Oh.
like, really go prove myself because I think that helped a lot when, like, actually teaching people.
Do you
I
usually
think
take the
it's
harder? I'm thinking about the harder path: baseball, basketball, football, and a construction job. and a social life blowing things up with Tannerite. You had this definition of excellence. You want to pursue being better, even if good is enough, is going after the hardest thing. Pursuing better is going after the hardest thing. Keeping yourself busy is going after the hardest thing. You find, the better path typically, and if so, why?
I think like 100%. There's maybe very few situations where doing the easy thing is like the better thing, but yeah, to be honest, I think almost everything I've done in my life that I've taken the harder path has ended up leading like to a very positive place for me. I mean, even being a district manager, I was like honestly really didn't want to be a district manager. I didn't think I was like ready for it. And the reason that I actually ended up doing it is because I also wasn't ready to be an intern and try to run a business, but I decided to, you know, take a shot on that. So I was like, you know what, I might as well take a shot on being a district manager as well.
I did
Um,
an episode
and
of this podcast with my friend Mike Cato, who I think was my first episode, and my friend Nicole McMacken, who I think was number 2. And they come on every now and then, and we did an episode, and I forget what the topic was. It was this season. It was a recent episode, but I record them over the course of a whole year. And what I'll never forget is we realized kind of during the recording of it is we've never been prepared for anything. I've
yeah,
never been now like, what do I got? I'm you know, the chairman of whatever in our YPO group. And I'm prepared for that because I've done that 4 or 5 times. So I'm prepared for that. But anything we've ever done, like every advancement, every promotion, every change in focus, none of us had ever been prepared. I mean, how could you be? How could you? The
yeah.
only way you can be prepared is if you're doing the same thing over and over again. And
Yeah, I
you
mean, I
made it.
think if you wait for till you're like prepared, I don't think anything will ever change because you're never going to be prepared because everything's always changing. So that's like one thing I think that's helped me a lot too is just not really hesitating. Like, maybe I hesitate when I make a decision, but once you make a decision, just going all in for it and like
What do
fully
you see with
committing.
other people? Because you've worked with a lot of people. I don't know how many, I mean, you've managed over 100 people. You've had, the branch managers that you've worked with all of their whole labor force. You've been on job sites. What do you think the difference is? What do you think the key is?
Honestly think most of it is like just like when you commit to something, fully committing, like that's what I feel like helped me the most just throughout my whole life is every time I've done something, as soon as I decide I'm gonna do it, I just go all out to do it. I don't really like I might kind of hesitate to make a decision, but once I make a decision, I just go all out for it. And that's the biggest thing I've seen in people who do really well, that are whether they're painters or interns or like district managers, is they fully commit themselves to what they're doing.
You think
Like there's not like a
indecisiveness,
second.
you know that decision paralysis where people can't decide, should I do this or do that? And by the time they make a decision, it's too late. Should I get on the train? Should I get on the plane? Oh, I just missed them both, type of thing. Do you think that's not going all out? It's like, do you think that because you and I are decisive people? Do you think indecisive people are like, okay, I'm going to do this. Oh no, no, now I'm going to do this. Oh no, no, now I'm going to do this. As opposed to I'm going to do this and make it work, and that's the difference.
Yeah. I honestly don't even think the decision you make matters, like whether it's
Yeah,
the
it
right or
doesn't.
the wrong decision.
Okay, I gotta give a yellow card. It's an and yellow card. And yellow card. Right. You do the right or wrong thing for sure. There's no right or wrong except for values and morals. Ooh, I
That
pulled
is
that from
correct.
Perfect Mom, don't you?
That is
She
correct.
would be listening to that and go, wait a second, there is a wrong. If it's immoral, if it's harmful, but most things aren't going to be immoral or harmful. Do I go this way? Do I go that way? Do I exercise this business idea? Do I exercise that business idea? Do I try this conversation this way or that way? Do I code it A or B? You just split test it. There's no moral challenge. There's no ethical challenge. You just got to go, I wonder about that. Because you see people that are indecisive when you're working with them. Do you think that's it? They just don't
Those are
commit.
always the ones that like struggle, I think, the most. And it's never a skill issue. I even have like some of my really good friends, like they have all these different opportunities, but they don't pick any of them and then they don't do anything. And they're still not doing anything. And it drives me nuts sometimes. Like, they talk about all these opportunities they have and they just don't pick one. And
Yeah. You
I
could be
think,
the smartest in the world. You could be the most skilled in the world. But if you don't go do something, that you have no output. There's no output. Yeah, it doesn't
yeah,
matter what your skill is, just decide and go with it.
yeah. And so I feel like that's definitely something that's helped me a lot. Like my junior year, I decided to play football for like my third year. I hated football like my whole life. I never enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But as soon as I started, like my parents, like if we started something, we finished it. There's never like the option of, oh, you can just quit if you don't like it. It was like,
Yeah.
well, as soon as you sign up, like you're finishing out the football season. There's no
Yeah.
going back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people lack is they make a decision with like cold feet and kind of just test the waters, which you can't get a true test until you fully commit to something. And I think the interns that do really well here are the ones that just go all out. Like their life kind of depends on it. It's like, this is what I'm doing. There's no other option. And they end up being really successful. And then the ones that I feel like maybe have all the skill in the world, but they kind of hesitate when they get started
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
take their time to kind of feel things out, to wait until they're comfortable. They never get comfortable because they never just go all in.
Yeah. 1 year commitment. That's my brother. My brother always says it. Just commit for a year. I mean, you guys, your generation. If you're listening to this right now and you're in your 20s, you're gonna live another 100 years, maybe more. You guys aren't dying at 78 or 82. I mean, then there's so much. I mean, I got what do I have here? I got my custom vitamins. I've got my other custom, whatever this is. I got all my scans. Like I don't got cancer. I don't. I mean, I got to do the heart one though, and I haven't done the Clearly scan yet. So go get a Pronovo scan. Go get a Clearly scan. You know, if you have cancer, if you're gonna have a heart attack, go get your blood tested. Get your. Everyone's gonna be doing this. You're gonna live forever. So try things out for a year. It's 1 year, not a month. You don't know. If you hate something, keep going. I'll tell you a funny story because we have the same rule. If you sign up for something, you're sticking to it. So Jake was like nationally ranked as a diver when he was a little kid. And I mean, he would go and it was 6 days a week, rain or shine. It's pouring rain. He's on those like, what are they, 10-meter platform, 7-meter platform, 5-meter platform, wearing his little Speedo. He's up there. And they have Greg Louganis was one of the coaches. Like they have the best people, and all these California kids are diving all the time. So he became like in his age group, fourth, fifth in the nation. So we'd go to all these diving meets all over the place. And mid-year, he tells me I want to quit. And I'm like when he was 13, I'm like, dude, I think it was 2 months before. I'm like, you might win the national championships. I mean, that's going to be great on your resume. He's like, no, I'm going to quit. I said, hey, we don't quit in our family. Remember? He's like, okay, you got to finish the season. He goes, okay. Didn't hear anything about it. Finished the season. I think that's the year he got fourth in the nation. And I had to drive him to the diving class. So, oh, and I also told him, I said, look, and when we quit, we don't just not go to practice. You walk up to the coach, you shake your hand, you look him in the eye, you say thank you, and you let him know you're going to be resigning before the season starts. So we get done with the nationals. I drive him to diving. I'm sitting there waiting because I had to wait like an hour to maybe an hour and a half. I'm just sitting in my car and I watch him. It literally goes down, and I'm like, why is he out on the? He's still wearing his clothes. Walks over to the coach, and I see him talking to the coach, and see this. He walks back up, gets to the car. I go, what are you doing? He goes, I quit. I go, you just quit? And he'd been in it for like 7 years or something. He's like, yeah, I told you I was going to quit. You said I had to finish the season. Shake the coach's hand. I'm like, okay, I can't argue with that. I said, well, why did you quit? He said, Dad, every day I come here and what I listen to all day is smack. And then people crying, girls crying, smack. He's like, it is really nerve wracking to be standing 10 meters up and hear a smack and see a girl crying. And I just don't want to do it anymore. I said, all right. But there you go. I love that. So the lesson there is the 1 year commitment. And stick it out to the end for your teammates. Stick it out to the end because you never know what wonderful thing will happen, what serendipitous when. The good thing that you got, or the hard thing, was building trust, and you didn't know that that would be as hard as it was when you were starting a business, and that's going to apply to any business. How do you get clients? People think I'm going to go ask 3 people, they're going to be my client. I have a friend, Hassan. He went all the way to the top of like 10 towers in Houston, Texas, and circled down, then went to the next circle down. It was like 10 towers before one person would even give him a sales call. So that was the hardest. What was kind of surprisingly easy and surprisingly cool? Now, let me think. Is there
I mean,
anything that was easy?
I was to say I didn't really do many things like the right way when I was an intern. I kind of
How
like to
about
do it the
cool?
hardest way.
How about surprisingly cool? Like you didn't know, or you're like, whoa, this is a nice one.
I'd say definitely like the interactions with some of the like clients. Like, don't get me wrong, there's definitely some clients that I won't say the names, but there were some jobs that I for sure definitely messed up and had to go back and fix some things on them. But even the interactions with like, I remember there was one fence job I had, and I mean, I don't know what I was thinking, but we totally messed this fence up. And we went back and we restained it and fixed it all. And like the clients were like very appreciative and like shook their hand after. I think they probably wanted to kill me at one point during the project, but I remember coming back like once we finished the project and came back and took care of it and got everything taken care of. I feel like it was like I didn't realize how like much respect I was gaining from some of the clients. I thought it was just I'm just painting a house. Like I didn't think it was really that big of a deal or staining a fence, whatever it may be. But I think that's when I started to kind of realize like, oh, maybe what I'm doing is actually kind of like pretty cool. Like I thought it was just kind of like, oh, this might just be like a normal internship because I didn't really look at a lot of internships.
Yeah.
I looked at this one and was like, nope, yep, I'll do this. So I thought it was kind of just normal what I was doing. Come to find out, it's not very normal for somebody to do what I was doing that year. But
Yeah, you had a couple things in there. I heard a little bit of it's kind of surprising how cool people are. It's kind of surprising as you watch TV, especially now, especially if you're your generation, dealing with this political battle and then global battle and economic battle, and everybody's so negative and everybody's so aggressive, and it's just all over the place. It's kind of cool to see that most people they're lifting us. Most people want to help. So you have all these, and you did have some rough clients, and I had some rough clients, and I look back and I go, the rough clients were mostly my fault. I
yeah,
mean,
that's how it was for me.
and
There's not the client. None of it was the client's
I
problems. It
mean,
was
maybe
mostly
I
my
had
problem.
one, but it was one out of 40 or something. It's like, I mean, most people aren't out to get you. And that's, I mean, that's what we always think. If there's a customer problem in our business, we don't think, and we always hear the same story. I did nothing wrong. Everything's perfect. I'm like, no, we're going to send someone else out to look at it because we're not going to trust your perception because people don't get pissed and do weird things unless they're pissed because you've done something. Yeah, I thought that was cool. And the second part, the gaining respect, like I don't see like to me, I don't know why. You and I look especially side by side, we look exactly the same. Now my cheeks are a little chubbier. I did get my hair cut today, so my beard's a little shorter. But if I just messed up my hair a little bit, I mean, I pretty much think I look like you. I don't know how old you are, 54, 21. I don't know. I don't know how old I am. Take my glasses off. Oh my God. I look awesome. 21. I don't know. Put these back on. Maybe I'm 35. I don't know. So like now it's easy for me to just like respect all y'all because I'm just used to all you all kind of commanding respect. But it's funny when you go out there and you command respect and people start respecting you. It's that kind of initial shock, like, whoa, whoa, I guess I'm an adult now. Yeah, you're running the business. You're an adult now. That's kind of cool. Well, is where you are now surprising to you? Did you know that this was going to happen? Or did you know you're going to be kind of having, I don't know how many employees you have, but you have 100 and I don't know how much I don't know how much total revenue, but few million, two and nearly $3 million of total revenue. How much will it add up to in college? Millions.
It'll add up to let's see, this year it'll be yeah over like 2.5, 2.6,
2.5,
closer to 3.
2.6 millions and steadily employing, currently, I don't know, 100 people. That surprise you from where you were in high school blowing things up with Tannerite?
Yeah, honestly, definitely like quite a bit. I wasn't really like ever really. I mean, I guess I was like captain of like sports teams and stuff, but that's not. I don't really think that actually puts you in a leadership position when you're young.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of just like oh, people vote on like maybe who they want to be the captains, and it's. I don't really feel like it's a true testament to like actually being in a leadership position. So honestly, yeah, it definitely surprises me. I thought I would go to college, try it out, and maybe just end up like doing construction or some like when I was in high school, like I thought the coolest job in the world would be like a construction manager.
I think it is a
And
cool
then
it is a cool
yeah,
job.
no, it is cool for sure, but
I mean, it is cool
I'll
to
get
watch things get built. It is cool to transform something from ugly to awesome. It is cool to watch people like you see they have whole TV shows about it. They move the bus and everyone's like, "Whoa." I mean, that is cool. But it's also cool to play the game and try to do all that through a bunch of other people and try to communicate to 100 people at once and try to find the right 100 people and try to inspire and get them moving and be above average. I mean, that's fun too.
yeah, no, I mean, what I'm doing now is definitely something I like was like, "Oh, it'd be cool to do this by the time I'm, maybe 35," was like I thought that would be really cool if I was in a position like this by the time I was, maybe a lot older. I didn't think it'd come this soon, that's for sure.
Right on. Well, I have two more questions. First is my favorite one. When you look back at your long, 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 long life and you get back to, like, I don't know how long you can really remember, let's say 14, 15, you know, what did my daughter say to me? She's talking about how independent she is. I go, no, 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 you're not independent until you're paying your own bills. So back in when you weren't paying all your own bills and you weren't folding your own laundry and you weren't making your own food, you had to make some sacrifices. And at the time, you were bummed. Your buddies were going out, tanzaniting some people's mailboxes and then going to jump off the cliffs into the river and you couldn't, or something, some sacrifice you made. What was the sacrifice you made that you're so happy you made now?
I mean, going back like that far, I don't really know if there's a lot of sacrifices I made in high school. I feel like I just did everything. Like if I wanted to, work, I worked a lot. I played baseball. Like there wasn't really a ton of sacrifices that I feel like I made in high school. I guess one that wasn't really like, so I did go to like a very small like private school. I actually graduated all by myself, which is what actually allowed me to get so far ahead.
Yeah.
Was the next like closest, like my probably fifth grade year. It was like I could either keep taking courses that I was on track with, or they were gonna like try to bump me up 2 grades to just take classes with my other sister. So it wasn't really like much of a sacrifice because at the time it was like, oh, I'll just try taking, class seventh grade classes as a fifth grader. But I remember my freshman year is when it really like started to catch up to me because my freshman year, I
You were a
was,
junior.
all my freshman buddies are like, they got these super easy classes. They're able to go do all this like fun stuff. And I was like swamped. I was taking college classes. I was taking all my like junior, senior level, like high school classes. I remember taking like physics and I was in like Calc 2 and all my friends are taking like pre-algebra. And so, the homework and stuff that I was doing was way more like much more loaded than these guys like cake schedules. And that at the time was like pretty hard, which it didn't really seem like a sacrifice. It was just the way things were. I didn't feel like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm making a big sacrifice, but there's definitely a little of that, whereas, like, I was definitely doing a lot more homework. I remember doing, like, homework on the bus, and, my freshman buddies are talking about how they haven't had homework all year and all this stuff.
How many of them have worked for you?
My freshman buddies, none of them actually. Once we all kinda spread out after
Okay.
we went off to college, but
Uh,
no, I did have some buddies that worked for me last year, but they were all older than me. They were both seniors, juniors. But
That's how it
so
works. That's how it works when you're the one taking the hard path, trying to be as good as you possibly can, even if you're already good enough. That's what happens. Was there anything that you wanted to say on this podcast? Thank you, mom and dad, for being in the top 2 Guinness Book World Records parents of all time. Something like that. Anything you want to say before we leave? Something to the listeners in Melbourne or the listeners in Manhattan? Not Manhattan, New York, Manhattan, Kansas. Anything you wanna say before we cut out?
I mean, no, definitely, obviously, my parents, like, that was I probably would not be I would like to say I'd be here without them, but, I mean, getting bumped up ahead that early, probably something that I don't think a lot of parents would probably do, so I don't think I'd be as far ahead without them for sure, but, I mean, biggest thing I feel like that I see, like, I feel like would help younger generation people kinda around, younger my age, something that has definitely helped me a lot in my life that I think could help a lot of people is just to commit to something. There's like a
Mhm.
saying, if you commit to nothing, you'll be distracted by everything. And there's plenty of distractions in the world. And if
Yeah.
you don't commit to something soon, you're going to kind of get caught up. I feel like getting behind. And like you said, it doesn't have to be the right thing. If you commit and, in a year you decide, I don't want to do this anymore, at least you're moving in a direction. But I have so many friends and like I see so many people around my age that are just stuck in limbo because they have all these decisions they want to make, but they don't ever choose anything. They're
Yeah,
still stuck in limbo.
yeah.
Before you know it, like, some of my buddies are seniors.
They
They've
coulda
done
already
nothing.
succeeded or
Yeah,
failed.
yeah, and they haven't done anything. So I'd say, like, as a young person, like, you just got to commit to something and just go all in on it and just try stuff out because, waiting for the perfect opportunity to come, it's just unrealistic. It's never going to happen, especially if you don't go try it out. Like, they probably had the perfect opportunity in front of them, but since they didn't just go commit and give it a shot, that ship has sailed. It's no longer there. So I'd say just don't be afraid to commit to something. Something that's definitely helped a lot with my life. It's just been normal to commit to stuff. Like you do something, you do it till the end and see it through. But you can also always change your path. Like, junior year, I stuck out football, did end up breaking my arm like second to last game. But I remember when my mom told me, like, "You're not quitting," that's when I really realized, like, 'kay, there's no way to give up. Because my mom hated me doing football more than I hated playing football,
Oh, yeah.
and even
The
she wouldn't
driving.
let me. Yeah, well, it wasn't the driving, it was that she didn't want me to get hurt,
Oh.
and I'd never gotten hurt up until that point, that season, but, even my mom, who didn't really want me to play football, was like, "No, you decided to do it, like, you're gonna finish it out," and I finished it out, and then next year decided I'm gonna play fall baseball, really focus on trying to go play college baseball, but, yeah, there's just a lot of really cool
No,
opportunities you can
no,
get just from making
no
commitments and
more
stuff, so
no more clanking helmets. Well, we're gonna end it the way we started it. If you commit to nothing, you're always distracted by something. A quote from Henry Goodnow, who again you can find him on LinkedIn. Thank you so much, Henry, for making time, for walking away from the World Cup games that you had no idea were being played right near you. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you for being excellent.
thank you, Matt.